And we have two matters to take up today. One is whether or not you're going to represent yourself, and two, whether or not you want an evidentiary hearing regarding the motions you filed, or if you just want to do oral argument on them today. So we can start with the first question. Do you want to do oral argument on your motions that you filed today, set up an evidentiary hearing on them, or just have me decide them on the filings?
Well, the motions that were filed were actually not even in this case. They were rejected pursuant to criminal rule number 18. And so that's really irrelevant, but it seems to have possibly struck a nerve because it got people all riled up about it. But that's really not what I'm here to address that today, but I want to read you what I've got here.
Sure, what is it, one page?
What, 2 pages.
Okay. But let me just clarify one more thing then. We need to determine whether or not you're going to represent yourself at your trial. And so when you're addressing me, whatever it is, and I'm happy to listen to it, just include in there whether or not, before you finish with what you're telling me, include in there whether you are going to want to continue to represent yourself. And if you do, just let me know your experience and so forth that qualifies you. I'm happy to let people represent themselves as long as they'll follow court rules and make their appearances. So just include that in what you're going to say. So let me go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm definitely all about following rules. And also, I am definitely going to stand in my own capacity. I can't represent myself. I'm here in the original. You've got the real McCoy. I don't need to represent it. You've got the real thing.
Okay.
So let me read this to you. Good afternoon. On behalf of myself, the people, the militia, and liberty lovers everywhere, God bless you, and peace to all who would have it. I will keep this concise and relevant. Don't interrupt me, and I'll reciprocate courtesy. I am a child of God, with unalienable rights from Him. I am one of we the people of the United States, and I invoke sovereign immunity. I deny I am in active service to or a subject of any government, pretended government, or political subdivision thereof. I deny the plaintiff has any lawful power or jurisdiction over me as one of the people. I deny I knowingly and intelligently consented to be governed by the plaintiff. I object to this action in its entirety. I have evidence that this court is not what we were led to believe it was. I have evidence that the plaintiff is not what we were led to believe it was. I have evidence that the defendant is not what we were led to believe it was. As to the lawful judiciary, as opposed to the wholly void and counterfeit, quote, Alaska court system, the Alaska court system has listed itself on Dun & Bradstreet as a privately owned for-profit corporation under Duns number 360704381. Also under the Alaska Business License NAICS 9211 as a U.S. company. Chapter 24, Session Laws of Alaska 1966 prescribes the seal of the District Court of the Judiciary and requires that seal to be affixed to all judicial process. The Alaska court system's documents, of course, lack this seal. And here's what a 20-year senator and former Governor Frank Murkowski had to say about the Alaska court system not being the judiciary. The question that was posed to him, he said, I'm sure you're well aware of the fact that the Alaska court system is not the judiciary. And his response, without a moment's hesitation, was, well, nobody ever claimed it was. Let me play that for you here. It's only a couple seconds long. Here we go.
How do you feel about the criminal activity that the courts and attorneys are doing on the people? I mean, I think you're well aware that the Alaska court system isn't the judiciary.
Tell them I'm busy. Let me rewind that for you here.
Activity that the courts and attorneys are doing on the people. I mean, I think you're well aware that the Alaska court system isn't the judiciary. Nobody ever said it was, but, we have a system in this country that's
All right. Well, we have a system based on trust, is what he says. He said nobody ever said it was. Back to my notes here, nobody ever said it was. That is a feeble dismissal of such deceptive treachery. Nobody ever said it was. Based on the evidence, I deny the Alaska court system is the lawful judiciary, and I have no evidence to the contrary. As to the plaintiff, state of Alaska, the prosecution conceals what it is. The only definition in their statutes of what the plaintiff is found in AS 4577-0203. Public corporation means state of Alaska. It's a business, and its FEIN is 926001186. That, taken with the finding of Chief Judge Fox in the Milizewski case, who explained, and I'll quote exactly, corporations, after all, are not supposed to exercise the governmental powers with which the Bill of Rights was concerned. But this has been radically changed by the emergence of the public-private state. Today, private institutions do exercise governmental power, more indeed than government itself. We have two governments in America, one under the Constitution and one not under the Constitution. Based on the evidence, this is me talking now, based on the evidence, I deny that the plaintiff is the lawful government of the people, and I have no evidence to the contrary. As to the status and identity of the defendant, the Supreme Court of the United States explained in Alden versus Maine, quote, at the Revolution, the sovereignty devolved on the people, and they are truly the sovereigns of the country. Justice Kennedy went on to say, the immunity of a truly independent sovereign from suits in his own courts has been enjoyed as a matter of absolute right for centuries. Harris versus State quoted the Supreme Court of the United States, quote, the vice of vagueness in criminal statutes is the treachery that they conceal what persons are included, end quote. I understand that statutes apply only to legal fictions. I deny I am a legal fiction. I have no known memory of a duty to act as a legal fiction. As one of we the people, I answer to God and my neighbors if I harm them. Based on the evidence, I find that the word person is deceptively used in criminal statutes and excludes me as one of the sovereign people, and I have no evidence to the contrary. According to Attorney General Pinckney, quote, it is the duty of a sovereign not to submit his rights to the decision of a co-sovereign. He is the sole arbiter of his own rights. He acknowledges no superior but God alone. To his equals, he shows respect, but not submission. Now I'll give you my parting words. I really admire your patience and your forbearance. You are outstanding in your field. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reciprocate the courtesy. I am a sovereign, a man of peace, but capable of war, who, having injured no one, has patiently suffered the merciless aggression of the district accuser of the brethren, this guy, nothing personal, Scott, accuser of the brethren, who, by savage forces, has brought me before the black-clad father of lies with intent to do me harm. No offense to you guys or you personally, but what you're party to does reflect on you. Black-clad father of lies with intent to do me harm. That's you, even though you're a female, that's intended to you. Soulless federal assassins have made threats on the lives of my wife and children. This, coupled with your long-established and well-documented practice of refusing to ascertain the truth, leaves me but one inescapable conclusion. You are rebellious impostors inventing a design to reduce us under absolute despotism. We want peace and friendship, not war. But should you thrust war upon us by your continued aggression, my men and I, along with all those who love liberty and law, will cry out to the just and moral God of the universe, and with a strong reliance on his providence, fulfill our moral duty to protect our families and repel the lawless aggressors who seek to do us harm. We know who you are, and we know who you aren't. We wish no harm on anyone. And reciprocally, we will not tolerate harm from anyone, especially not from you. Whence Churchill, when surrounded by danger, said, quote, "We sleep soundly in our beds because rough men stand ready in the night to visit violence on those who would harm us. I sleep soundly. If you continue to harm or threaten us in any way, we have the right to defend ourselves. The sword of a righteous God is swift to destroy those who oppress the innocent. God is not mocked. I cannot dishonor him by bowing before the forces of lawlessness." The prophet Isaiah wrote, "The Lord is our judge. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. He will save us." As a matter of conscience, I cannot entertain a crass mockery of justice, but I go in peace. I, Schaeffer Cox, declare all past action to be based in fraud, and as such void from inception.